see you. Welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us. We're back.
No, we're back. Happy to see you.
7-3.
Mr. President, such
Good to see you, Mr. It's good to come, especially now in such challenging period.
Thank you, Chris.
Want to really see something that said, take a look what happened.
Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Y'all already know what I'm finna say. It's in my bloodstream. It's in the spirit. They say, Rick, sir, calm down, sir. Rick, I got Tylenol, aspirin, Advil, the alkaline scissor. We put it in the water. It bubbles up. It'll make your stomach feel better, Rick. Rick, do you need? No, I don't need it. No, y'all stop saying it. I don't need it. Rick, your sodium, your sugar, your carbohydrate levels, sir. You know, having a party in Ukraine on our dime. Can y'all please allow me to say it? I gotta say it, please. They say, Rick, sir, please don't say it. Put your hands behind your back. Get into this, man. I had to say it. It was in my bloodstream. It was in my spirit. But I hope everybody that is tuned in right now that you are blessed, well, and healthy, man. I love y'all, family. All I can do is come on here and break it to you. Have a healthy conversation with you. Keep it real, you know. And we you know, every single day is a new day. And we don't know what to expect next. But guess what? The truth must shine in the light. Am I reading this correctly? For over almost $500,000 for a hotel stay in Ukraine? Lindsey Graham should be ashamed of himself. He just robbed the American taxpayers. Holy guacamole. Put the guacamole on the toast. You know, Nick says, people love whining in my comment section when I say Congress takes a lot of vacations. They're not on vacation. They're working in their districts. Bull. Lindsey Graham was just partying in Ukraine on our dime. When did Lindsey Graham become the senator from Ukraine? Don't worry, Lindsey Graham. Almost $500,000 hotel stay bill in Ukraine was approved. Nothing to see here, folks. Oh, man. Says we're in serious trouble, America. Lindsey Graham is attempting to sabotage peace talks with Russia and Kyiv. This man is an embarrassment to the United States and will lose his Senate seat this upcoming election.
President Trump said that Ukraine doesn't have good cards. Well, Russia's much bigger and has a lot more people. I get that. But the world has a lot of cards against Russia. And one of those cards that we have is about to be played in the United States Senate. In America, you have more than one person at the card table. We have 3 branches of government, and the House and the Senate are poised to act. What would change our mind? If Russia came to the table, agreed to a ceasefire, and earnestly...
Mike says Lindsey Graham is a backstabbing traitor to Trump. Who agrees Trump should rescind his endorsement of Lady G. Lindsey? Oh, man. Says revoke Lindsey Graham's passport so he can't come back.
Lindsey Graham was
moving forward. There's no possible interpretation of these events that will.
And the perfect, by the way, to back you up, the perfect thing was Lindsey Graham was all over Ukrainian media and global media all over the weekend, basically challenging President Trump. He's saying, hey, the House and the Senate are going to have their own thing. We're going to have a package. Lindsey Graham is 100% against President Trump's foreign policy. Lindsey Graham is the biggest neoliberal neocon in the Senate. He's worse than McConnell. He's the one stirring up the pot in Israel.
Lock his back brakes on that wheelchair. Don't let that wheelchair move ever again. Hell, should have been term limits to begin with. To disgrace what we've allowed to happen. Should have been gone a long time ago. Got to watch people get up and fall down again. Get up and fall down again. Cut themselves up. They cut their face up. They land on their arms and face and cut themselves up. Have strokes live on TV. You know. What they call them, Brother Turtle? Brother Turtle. These rhinos. Term limits.
He's the one stirring up the pot in Kiev. He wants bombers. He wants bombers heading in right now. And he just shows you right there. That's
warmongers.
180% out from the president. Ben, thanks for joining us. Social media, where do people go to get all your blinding insights?
On Getter, Steve, just simply.
I want to get into what Matt was talking about. I know Matt was talking about this. He says Lindsey Graham is in hot water. Let's check this out, man. You just can't make this up, man. You just can't.
Trump is not happy with Senator Lindsey Graham right now. In fact, it would seem as if Lindsey Graham is intentionally sabotaging the America First movement. Now, as many of you know, as far as Republicans go, Lindsey Graham is one of the strongest supporters of Ukraine that we have on our side of the aisle. In fact, just a couple of days ago, Lindsey Graham and Democratic Senator Blumenthal chartered a negotiation trip to Ukraine during which they spent over 800,000 taxpayer dollars on travel expenses. And of course, as many of you know, in accordance with the Logan Act, Lindsey Graham isn't supposed to be holding negotiations with foreign leaders without President Trump's explicit permission. And folks, let's just say that it doesn't seem like Lindsey Graham's Ukrainian vacation was sanctioned by President Trump. You see, just 2 days ago, as I'm sure many of you have heard, Ukraine launched a massive drone attack against a Russian airfield, destroying over $7 billion worth of Russia's strategic bomber planes. And so, folks, here's the massive problem with this. This colossal Ukrainian drone attack took place just 1 day after Lindsey Graham landed in Ukraine, and as Ukraine themselves have confirmed, President Trump wasn't given notice that this attack would be taking place. So to be very clear, as President Trump is actively working night and day to work out a deal between Ukraine and Russia in order to bring peace to Eastern Europe, Lindsey Graham is seemingly having secret meetings with the Ukrainians. Right as they're launching massive attacks deep inside of Russian territory without giving any notice whatsoever to President Trump. Then, after Ukraine's massive attack had concluded, Lindsey Graham came out and publicly gave his endorsement to the attack, directly contradicting President Trump's America First policy, which prioritizes de-escalation and diplomatic negotiations. And so, folks, with all of that being said, I have a feeling you're going to want to see this next thing I have to show you, but first, the
White House has to condemn this immediately and pull all support and tell Lindsey Graham, come home. Or we're going to put you under arrest when you come home and you're stirring it up. Lindsey Graham's over there saying, hey, forget Trump. I got the House and the Senate. We're gonna pass him. You're going to see something in a couple of days. Remember that? He's stirring it up over there. He's telling me they got backing. If they did not give us a heads up on this, all full stop, no minerals deal, walk away from all of it. They're irresponsible. They're dragging us into a kinetic third world war. As we said, we're getting dragged in now. Or the deep state is driving us in there. Either of these are not good. Tulsi Gabbard's got to let us know. Did anyone in Intel at all have anything to do with this? Did anybody have a heads up? Did anybody? And if not, who the hell's running the Ukraine desk? Who's running the Russia desk? Same thing with Ratcliffe. This is why cash and Bongino and Pam Bondi. You got to clear out the deep state. This is a ticking time bomb, and you see what they're going to get us into. Because now inexorably we're being drawn into this. If we didn't know about it, the president, to me, has got to condemn it and got to say we're not going to give it any more support because these people cannot be trusted. You're supposed to be in Turkey today talking peace, not 3,000 miles into Russia blowing up their strategic bombers.
Now, folks, not only is Steve Bannon absolutely right about all of this, but you know what? Let's have a little bit of a reminder here. Let's not all forget that still to this day, right this very moment, there are numerous anti-American actors inside of our federal government that are actively pushing to get the United States involved in even more foreign wars, namely in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East. In fact, take a look at this.
People are not awake of what is happening throughout the world and how we're being sucked in, and supposedly by somebody we support, like Zelensky, to know that he never gave the White House a heads up. He never asked permission to do this. He would do really a brilliant but a deep strike into part of their nuclear, essentially taking out our B-52s, which these old Russian planes are. It's outrageous. And Lindsey Graham all weekends over there stirring the pot. We can't have people over there telling the Ukrainians that we're going to back more. What we're trying to do is calm this down. What President Trump is trying to say is like, look, let's get to a ceasefire. Let's put our weapons down. Let's talk peace and prosperity. We don't support the economic deal, but President Trump is saying he needs it as a central part of a peace plan. But we can't have Lindsey Graham, and particularly Zelensky, leading us into a third world war with a deep strike into Russia. And Putin came back today and said, hey, we're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to see who's accountable in Ukraine and beyond. And that was a message to the United States.
And so, folks, here's the reality. Lindsey Graham's actions in Ukraine perfectly align with the deep state's ongoing efforts to perpetuate the war in Ukraine for as long as possible, in direct opposition to President Trump's America First agenda. Right now, President Trump's aspiration of bringing about peace is being actively undermined by Washington, D.C. establishment figures like Lindsey Graham. In fact, check this out. Here's a little fun fact. Since January of 2023, 2.5 years ago, Lindsey Graham has personally taken 6 taxpayer-funded trips to Ukraine, whereas he's only taken 2 trips back to South Carolina, the state that he was elected to represent. Based on his flight logs, you'd just assume that he's actually some ambassador from Ukraine. But nope, believe it or not, he's a sitting U.S. senator. And so that's why Steve Bannon said earlier in that clip that if Lindsey Graham doesn't stop meddling in Ukraine, President Trump should just have him arrested. The reality is, Lindsey Graham has been drastically overstepping his boundaries. But you know what? Speaking of Steve Bannon, take a look at this.
Something's very, very, very wrong here. Either, number one, if the White House didn't have a heads up, that to me should be, you should condemn this attack today. You should say we're pulling all support today. And you should tell Lindsey Graham, get on a plane here, dude, and get back and stop stirring the pot. Okay, and you should put a notice to the guys in the Senate. We're already $1 trillion. The big beautiful bill. And you're talking a lot of smack over in the Senate. We're going to cut. We're going to cut. We're going to cut. Do not add any money, because this is what Lindsey Graham's saying. The House and the Senate are going to add big dollars for Ukraine. Not happening. We should, if we did not know about it, and let's take that as his face. If they didn't give us a heads up on it, that's dragging us in it. They did a strike 3,000 miles into Russia. As we said last week when Mert said, oh, we got, the ability to hit deep, we got sign of America supports that. There was no verification of that. I don't believe. I never saw any official verification of that.
And now, folks, I absolutely love that he brought up our national debt and President Trump's big, beautiful budget bill. And the reason why is this. Can you folks guess which Republican senator has been dragging his feet, claiming that he's undecided, refusing to commit to voting for President Trump's budget bill? That's right, Senator Lindsey Graham. When it comes to funneling hundreds of billions of U.S. taxpayer dollars to Ukraine, Lindsey Graham is totally on board. But when President Trump needs a budget to actually make America great again, well, Lindsey Graham isn't really that interested. As many of you know, a huge portion of President Trump's budget bill is aimed at securing our borders in order to permanently solve our illegal alien problem. But very interestingly, Lindsey Graham seems more interested in securing Ukraine's borders than our own borders. That seems a little bit weird, a little bit anti-American, don't you think? And so, ladies and gentlemen, right now, rumor has it that President Trump is actually considering trying to primary Lindsey Graham when he's up for re-election in 2026, kicking him out of the Senate and replacing him with someone who's actually willing to prioritize the needs of Americans living here in America. Because, folks, as I like to say, that is what it's going to take to finally put America first. Now, ladies and gentlemen,
I would say, put him in handcuffs. Hands behind your back. That solves a lot of problems. What y'all think? Let me know in the comment section down below, man. You just can't make this up.